because we're going to talk about one of my favorite topic, which is classes and objects. But before that, we need to finish arrays as well. And before that, we'll start with one of the most interesting thing which is happening from last 2 weeks, which is the quiz. Okay, so we will start the quiz at the start, and today we are going for the first 3 questions. And then later, the remaining questions, in total, we have 10 questions. First 3 questions at the start, the last 7 questions at the end. Okay, uh, awesome. So I hope you are excited because the questions are coming from the last session, what we have discussed, and it will be quite fun. The prizes for today is same as what we have for what we did here last time. So the prizes, the first prize is, okay, let me share my screen to show you the prizes here. And I just want to check if everything is okay. All good? Kiran, all good? Okay, great. So the first prize here we have for the event is you will get my Java full stack live course, which is starting from 9th of July, and Java full stack, not Java full stack blockchain development course, which is again starting from 16th of July. So next month, I'm coming up with 2 different courses, and both will be live. So it will be 6 months long course, and if you win this Menti, you will get the access for those courses. Second prize is only for the blockchain course, and the third prize is 50% off on the Java full stack live course. And you might be knowing the rules, but in case if you are new to this channel, the first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you hit that like button, okay? Because that's what motivates me to do more live sessions. And second, if you win, you have to take a screenshot of your own phone and send it on your phone or device or whatever device you're using, and send it on my Instagram profile, which is Navin Reddy Official. Okay. Now there's only one twist today. The twist is we will not be having the same winners. So let's say yesterday we got 3 winners, right? If you have the same winners, then we need to give the prizes to the next 3. Okay. So your name will be skipped. I know, of course. How can I assign the same course to the same person multiple times? Okay. Spars says, what if winners have already enrolled in the courses? I can't do anything for that, right? So maybe you can gift it to someone else. But again, that's not applicable for the winners who did last time. Awesome. Now, how will you get the Menti link? It's very simple. Let me share the link in the chat. You're going from the Telusko account? Telusko account is login, right? So the blockchain link, Java link, both the course link and Menti link, put it in the pin chat. Yeah, so type it in on the text pad, type it together. Awesome. So I'm just sharing the link, everything in the chat pinned so that you can access it quickly. Now, if you want to join directly from the app, you can also do that. So this is how you do it. So you can scan the QR code and you can join the Menti, or you can go to menti.com and mention this code, which is 80890516. Awesome. I can see a lot of people have already joined. And if you enjoy my Mentis, if you enjoy these Java sessions, hit that like button, everyone. I can see a lot of people have already liked it. That's great. Thank you so much, everyone. Much appreciated. Okay, we can't record videos of first prize, is it? Awesome. Shahid says, I'm ready to do the payment. Shahid, I guess the backend team is connecting with you. I've shared your details with the backend team. They will be connecting soon with you for the courses, for the payment. Awesome. Pinto says, membership lena padega kya? No, just subscribe the channel and then you are done. You are in. Awesome. So I guess already a lot of people have already joined. Without wasting much time, I'm going for in fact, let me just wait for 10 seconds. So if you want to join this quiz, because quiz is fun, you can scan the QR code, or you can go to menti.com and mention the code, which is 80890516. Okay, so all the links are available in the pinned chat. If you can see that, the Java course link is there, the blockchain course is linked there. And okay, there's only one problem. The blockchain link and the Menti keyword is combined. So blockchain course will not work. Okay, so here we go. We are going to start with, okay, Musab says, can we mention this Menti as an experience if we do job somewhere? Yeah, anyone can join this Menti. There is no restriction for any person. See, blockchain link, there was a mistake. The Menti keyword, the Menti word and the blockchain link is combined. So that was you're not able to access it. So give proper spaces between all the links. Space, add more spaces. Sometimes it doesn't detect these spaces. Awesome. So we are going over for our first question. Again, before we start with the actual quiz, I'm just having some fun. So everyone just mentioned which OS you're using on your machine now. I just want to know, as a programmer, do you still prefer Windows or you moved to some other OS? And there's one thing interesting here. Just tell me in the chat somewhere that if you had the same experience. So when I was doing my graduation or post graduation, I always had this dream of creating my own OS. Okay. I know I was naive and I was thinking I can do it by myself. I can build my own OS single-handedly. So just tell me in the chat if you had the same experience or do you have the same thought? Hey, I want to create my own OS. Why should I use someone else's OS? Awesome. So a lot of people are using Windows and few of you are using Linux, few of you are using Mac, but majority is Windows. And then a few people are saying my own OS. Okay, that's good. Okay, Vamsi says, what is my qualification? As of now, it doesn't matter what is my qualification, but just to name it, I have done my master's in IT. Okay. Okay, Lohit says, I dreamed that the whole night. Just a one night, I dreamed about this for 6 months. Awesome. So just a suggestion, if you are into programming world, if you want to learn more about programming and different tools, try to use Linux based OS because that's where you will learn a lot of stuff. Awesome. Now we are, in fact, more than 500 people already joined Menti, so it's good. It's a good time to start with the actual questions. And here we go, everyone. The first question coming on your screen. So make sure that you give your proper name, which matches with your email ID, so that I can give you the access. Okay, Gaurav says you have enrolled for both the courses. That's awesome, Gaurav. See you in the course, Gaurav. Okay, so first question, everyone, coming on your screen. So make sure that you join and give your proper name there. Awesome. So I can see a lot of people already joined, more than 500. So if you still want to join this Menti, if you just came late, you can find the link in the pinned chat on the top, or you can go to menti.com and mention that code. The code is 80890516, which is also mentioned on top of the screen if you can see. Awesome. So I'm starting with the first question. The first three questions will be coming now, and then remaining question will be done after the session. So here we go. The first question, everyone, on your screen. So the array's index begins with, we have talked about this before. Is it 0? Is it -1? Is it 1? Is it infinite? Awesome. Let's see. Okay, most of you already voted for this. 500 votes. Okay, let's see. Akshay says voted in 0.7 seconds. That's awesome. Okay, almost everyone voted for 0. That means you have seen my previous sessions or you know Java. But yeah, so index number starts with 0. That's important to remember. Few people mentioned 6, -1. No, it starts with 0. Awesome. Let's go for the next question. I hope you're ready for the next question, everyone. So question number 2 coming on your screen, and here we go. Okay, in Java, arrays are treated as, they're treated as objects, primitive data types, object reference, or none of the above? Okay, let's see what you're voting for. Okay, more than 550 votes already here. Okay, and the answer is, okay, majority of you are saying objects, and that is correct. right? In fact, we have also seen new keyword. It works. You have to create a new object basically. So arrays in Java are treated as objects, not as primitive types, not as object reference, or it's objects. Awesome. We have done with two questions, and now it's time for the third question. So before we go for the third question, hit that like button, everyone. Okay, so that I will know that you're enjoying this Menti. And here we go. The third question, everyone, coming on your screen. And here we go. The third question. Okay, which of the following is a valid statement for array? Specific to array, okay? So we have four options there. Select one. So there are so many people, they just vote in less than 1 or 2 seconds. How do you even check the options in such a small time? Okay, so 565 votes already there, and majority of you are saying first option, and that is correct. Awesome. So those are the first three questions. The remaining three questions, remaining 7 questions, we'll do it after this session because today's topic is interesting. So I just want to finish it up. The topic for today is, we'll finish arrays first, then we'll talk about class, object, and if we get enough time, we'll also talk about strings. I forgot the topic. Yeah, strings. Okay, so Michael says watching from Japan. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for joining, Michael. Okay, and now it's time to see the leaderboard for first three questions. And here we go. We have a leaderboard. Okay, someone is I who just joined and he's on top. So we got Nikhil on top. Then we got I. Then we got Prachi Agrawal as usual, Manish V. So these are our, what do you say, pro winners, right? They are winning most of the mentees. Okay, so we got Srinivas, others, Shrikant, Prem, Shubham, and Gaurav. Good job. And then, of course, we have 7 more questions which we can do it after the session. Okay, Sai says watching from Kakinada. Awesome. Gomati says watching from USA. Oh, I should have done that, right? So we should have taken one more slide with city, which we did yesterday, the last time, the first session, I guess. Okay, so are you excited for this session? We are going to start with the first topic. In fact, we'll try to finish the arrays first, and then we'll move towards the concepts. So I'm just closing all the other tabs before I open my VS Code. There are so many tabs which I already opened here. Just a second, everyone. We'll start with the session soon. I'm just doing some setup here. Terminate the terminal, and here we go. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen in 2 seconds, everyone. Just wait. Okay, so basically we have talked about arrays yesterday, right? And then it's still not over. I want to talk about different ways of defining or declaring an array. So there's one more way you can create an array. So okay, how many of you know there's one more language called C#? Now what happened, Java, and when Java came into picture, when Java got famous, Microsoft has this tendency of, Java has this, Microsoft has this tendency to steal ideas or just copy the ideas. I'm not talking about the current Microsoft, I'm talking about the old Microsoft. Now they had this tendency of getting languages or technologies in their company. So they wanted Java. So they approached Sun Microsystem and nothing worked. But then they wanted Java for them, right? So they thought, hey, let's create our own language, which will be better than Java. So in your college days, what you do, so you just copy the assignments, right? So you have your friend there, you see the assignment, you try to copy it, but then you have this one criteria: hey, change it a bit. Don't copy the exact stuff, make some changes, and that's what C# did. And if you look at two languages, Java and C#, the syntax almost looks similar. In fact, in my college, when I was doing my graduation, we had C# practical. And to be honest, I have not learned anything in C#. I just went there. I have written some Java code, and compiler was giving me errors, so I just converted that to C#, and it worked. is that similar. But then what C Sharp did is C Sharp it's not just copied Java, but added some new features. So Java thought, hey, we got this amazing language now, C Sharp. It almost has same features as Java plus extra features. So Java says, okay, I will copy it now. So Java copied those features from C Sharp. Again, Java got a new version. C Sharp says, okay, why we should stay behind? Again, C Sharp copied from Java, and then they are going hand in hand. So some of the features of Java is actually coming from C Sharp language. And one of them is this. So in Java, if you want to create an array of numbers, what you do, in fact, when you create an array, you can simply add this square bracket after the name, right? So you say nums, and then you mention the square bracket. I'm not sure if you can see the font size. Is it good? I think it's good. Okay. And then you can say new keyword, and then you mention the data type, and then you again mention the square bracket, and you mention the size of the array, right? If you want a size of 5, you can say 5. Hey, you can see my screen, right, everyone? I can see here. It's visible. Okay, so I'm just trying to avoid the questions or the chat here because it's quite distracting. So let me focus on the topic here. So basically, if you want to create an array, you can simply say int nums, and then you can give a square bracket after the name. This is how Java was designed. But then C Sharp says, hey, instead of writing a square bracket after the nums, you can actually write square bracket after the int itself. Even that works. Now, why this actually makes sense is, how do you read this statement? You can say, we are creating integer array who has a name nums. Doesn't it make sense? So that's how you read it, right? You are creating an integer array with a name nums. So that's why it supports both. It supports the square bracket before the variable and after the variable. In fact, it has such a flexibility, you can give a space as well, and it will not give you any error. Let's try it out. Let me just print the values here. How do you print the values? We have seen that in the last session, right? We can use a for loop here. We have two options. We can use normal for loop, or we can use for each loop. So if I use a normal for loop, if I start with 0, that's how you start. And then I will end at 5. In fact, I will end at 4. I will say I++. And here, let me print the value of nums. Now, at this point, the values will be 0, right? Because by default, all the values are 0 here. Oh, not nums, nums of I. And if I run this code, you can see it will print all the values as 0. Reason is because we have not assigned the values. By default, the values of an array will be default value of the type. So default value of a type integer is 0. So it is going for 0. Awesome. Cool. So you can write the square bracket here, or you can write it afterwards as well. Even that works, and even this works. That's your choice. What else we can do here? There's one important thing. Whenever you work with a normal for loop, what happens is it uses the index number to fetch the value, right? What if you don't want to use index numbers? That's where you can use a for each loop, where it will not refer to a particular index. Awesome. This is one concept I want to talk about. The second concept is, what if you have an array of an array? And we have talked about it, right? So example, we can create a 2-dimensional array. So we can say the rows will be having 2 rows and 2 columns. Now, how exactly this will work? Of course, you have to put 2 square brackets here to make it work. Now, how exactly this will look like is this. So basically, when you say you are creating an array of array, it will create an array. It will create an array of 2 values, right? And then in the first box, you will be having one more array of, this is one more array, and this is second array, right? So this is how it looks like behind the scene, but you can imagine that as a box. We have 2 rows and 2 columns. But what we are doing is we are creating an array of 2 rows, and each element here itself has a array in it, right? Maybe you can also represent this in this format. We got 2 arrays. So this is one array, this is second array, and we are putting that in one particular array, right? With rows and columns, which we have seen here as well in the image below. But what if you have the fixed number of rows, but the column number is not fixed. Something like this. You got this array and it has 3 values. Then you got this array which has, let's say, 4 values. Then you got this array which has only 2 values. And I want to create the array of array here. Is it possible? And the answer is yes. And this concept is actually called jagged array. So the concept is called jagged array because we have arrays of array. So how many rows we have? We have 3 rows. How many columns we have? Now the number of columns is actually variable here. So the number of columns are variable. In the first row, we have 3 elements, right? So we have, the size is 3. The second row has size of 4, and the third row has a size of 2, right? So this is called a jagged array where the number of columns is not fixed. Now, if I want to represent the same thing in the code here, so think about this. The number of rows is fixed. So let's say number of rows is 3. Number of column is not fixed. So in this case, we can just keep it blank. We are saying, hey, I don't know the number of columns here, right? But will this work? So even if you try to make it work, it will not work. You know why? It's because even if you say this is blank, ultimately we have to fill this detail. So what you have to do is you have to mention it here explicitly. You can say the first row will have how many values? So the first row will have 3 values. The second row will have 4 values. The third row will have 2 values. So this is how you can define them. Right? Okay, so basically we have this array which is jagged array, and the number of rows are fixed, the number of columns are not fixed. Okay, Rohit Nikam says, what if the number of rows are not fixed? Then you can't use array there. If you want to make it dynamic, in that case, we have to use a concept of collections. So we'll talk about collections later. But as of now, in arrays, you have to be very specific with the number of rows you have. Awesome. And then, of course, we can assign the values here as well. In fact, you can do in this way, and then one by one you can assign the value. So you can say 0 and 0. So we are filling the first position here, and what will be the first position? So we can say first value, let's say 3. And of course, I can copy this because in the first row itself we have 3 values. So I can say 1, and we can assign any value here. I'm just trying to assign a different value, and then this is 2. I can assign a value which is 5. Now I'm done with the first row, right? If I want to assign the value to the second row, I can just say nums of 1 because we are assigned it for the second row and the first column, and then we can assign any value which you want, let's say 7, and then list goes on, right? For the third row, when you talk about this one, you will assign only 2 values. Now there is one way of assigning values. So let me just comment this part. The another way of creating a jagged array is very simple. You can directly assign the values here itself. So you can say I want to create an array. So this is my big array, the outer box, and inside this array I have more arrays. So I got 3 more arrays. One array, first array, second array, and third array. So what I'm doing is I'm creating array inside the array. So we got 3 arrays in one big array, and then you can mention the values. So I want to assign the values which are 3, 8, 5 in the first array. In the second array, I was trying to assign 7. Now, since we have 4 values, I can assign any value here. Let's say 7. If I make it enter, it will look good. In the third array, I can define 2 values. Let's say 8 and 2. This is also a good way of doing that. Awesome. So you got the point right here. Now let me create one more array by copying it, and I want to differentiate between these two, how it looks like. So copy and let me paste it here itself. So I will name this as nums1 and this is nums2. This is my second array. And I want the second array to be properly, or maybe first array as properly 3 by 3, not a jagged array. Let's say some other value 4. So this is my normal two-dimensional array, right? 2D array where we have 3 rows and 3 columns. This is jagged array where you have number of rows fixed, but number of columns are changing for each row, right? And then let me just remove everything here just to simplify stuff. Now just focus on these two arrays here. What we are doing here is very simple stuff. What if I want to print the values? What if I want to print this thing? In fact, we have seen this in the last session, right? We can use the for loop and we have done that in the pattern as well. So I can say start with 0, I less than, what are the values we have? We have 3 and then I plus plus. And then inside this, we have one more loop, which is int j equal to 0, int j less than, let's say 3. Again, because we have number of rows and columns are fixed, right? And I can say j plus plus. Okay, is there a 3-dimensional array? Yes, you can also create 3-dimensional array. You can create 4-dimensional arrays. But in practical world, we only go for 2 max or maybe 3. But again, commonly we use single-dimensional and 2-dimensional. Okay, so if you want to, so there's a question from Shirish. If you want to take an input from the array, take array inside array user input. Okay, so you want user input, right? So in that case, we can use scanner class, which we'll discuss a bit later. Awesome. So with this, we got with for these two loops, and then I can simply print the values of nums1 because that's my normal array. And then here you can mention I and j because I will iterate between the rows and j will iterate between the columns. So this should work, right? This should print all the values. The only thing is it will print on the same line. First of all, I want a space in between. And second of all, I want to print after the first row, it should print on the next line. So if I run this code, you can see we got a box. Oh, but the problem is if I want to do the same thing with the jagged array, how will we do it? Because in this example, it was quite simple, right? Because the number of rows and number of column is fixed. So we can say 3, 3. But what if you have jagged array? So in this case, what we need to do is, first of all, using this number upper limit here is not a good idea. First of all, can we get the size of the array itself? And the answer is yes. So there's a special, let me just print it first. So let's say I don't want to print the values. Let me comment this part. I just want to print the size of the array. So what I can do is, if I have a simple array here, let's say int nums is equal to new int, and this is, let's say 4, the size is 4. And if I want to print the size of it, I can just come back here. I can say nums dot. Now there is a special property available in arrays, which is called length. So again, length is not a method, it's a property. So there is no need to put the round brackets. So just say nums dot length, it will print the length of the array. So you can see the length of the array is 4. Now which array I'm talking about? I'm talking about this array. This is the array for the size of this array is 4. But what if I want to get the size of this array, nums1? So in this case, if you say nums1 dot length, and if you run this code, you can see we got 3. Now what is this 3? Is it 3 rows or 3 columns? It's actually 3 rows. So nums has 3 rows. But what if you want to see what is the length of the first array inside nums1? So you can say nums1 of 0, that means you're talking about the first array. I mean, in the first row, how many columns you have? So in the first row, so len, it will give you the length of the first row. Now we can do the same thing for jagged arrays, right? So I can say nums2, this is jagged array. And when you say I want the length of the first row, run this, you will get 3. If I say I want the length for the second row, run this, you will get 4. If you want the length of the third row, say nums of 2, in bracket you have to say 3 because that's the index number for the third, not 3, 2, and run, and you can see we got 2. I hope you got the idea, right? So using len, you can fetch the size. So using length, you can fetch the size of the array. So in the jagged array as well, you can use this for loop. Since you don't have to mention 3 here, you can say nums2, right? Nums2 dot length. But then when you talk about the columns, you have to specify the row number. So you have to say nums2 of I, because every row has a different length. Is that making sense? So just look at this code for a few seconds. By the time I can just take all your question here. Once we got the output, okay, index out of bound. Okay. Fourth number is not there. Yeah, right. 4 column is not there. Okay, wouldn't nums of 0 return the element? No, the nums of 0, nums2 of 0 will return you the first array. So example, for this, if I say nums of 0, it will return this particular array. So if I just write a comment here, so this line, so when you say nums2 of 0 is actually, this array is actually represented by nums2 of 0. Okay, so let me just start from basic. There are some questions for jagged array. See, jagged array basically means where the number of rows are fixed, number of columns are not fixed. So for every row, you can define different column numbers. Example, for the first row, we have only 3 values. The second row, we have 4 values. The third row, we have 2 values. Now, since the size is not fixed, we call them as jagged arrays or jagged array. And if you want to fetch the value, since the size is not fixed, how can you get the size of particular row? In that case, you can use a length property. So first of all, you need to get the number of rows you have. So you can say nums2.length, it will give you the number of rows you have. For every row, you can say nums2 of 0, nums2 of 1, nums2 of 2. So this I will keep changing, right? And then you can fetch the row. So Ganesh says row always are fixed. Yes, rows are fixed. Awesome. And now we can run this code. Let me just remove this part because I don't want to print the size outside now. I just want to print this jagged array. Run this and oh, we got an error. Somewhere I made a mistake. It is working till, okay, 4 is not mentioned. One, two, three, 1, 2. Can you find a mistake in my code? Index out of bound for 3. Am I working with nums2? Yes. Let me remove this part. What went wrong here? Length, everything looks good. Nums1, nums2. Oh, right. Nums2. In the system.out.println, it should be nums2. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's run this code, and here we go. The jagged array output is here. Cool. Yeah, there was some issue with the nums, so it should be nums2. By mistake, I just copied and then it was nums1 there. Thank you, everyone. Okay, any questions? Looks good. Cool. Okay, so what else we can do here? Yeah, this is how you print a jagged arrays, and then we have talked about 2-dimensional. You can also try 3-dimensional, even that works. And yeah, So this is arrays, and now let's move towards one of my favorite topic, which is mentioned earlier, which is classes and objects. So I will just remove this part. Or maybe just keep it here. Let me open the new file. We'll define a class. I will say main class. Or should I have a different number, different name? Let's say project. I don't know. It's not a good name to name it, but let me get a class here. Now in this project, of course, the first thing you have to do is you need a main method. So I will say psvm tab. Okay. Okay, Prashant says, can we use for each for 2D arrays? Yes, you can use it. We have to cover a lot of things, so I'm just moving away from arrays. We have spent enough time there. Okay, so the topic now is class and object. See, in Java, basically everything is done with the help of classes and objects. Okay, so it's classes and object. Now, first of all, instead of talking about the details of classes and object, remember this, in Java, whatever you do, you need to keep that inside a class. And whenever you want to do something, some operations, you will do that with the help of methods. And these methods are part of an object. Okay. Now, just to go logically, just to explain how things works out, here it is. See, everything around here, whatever you see in real life. Example, if you say this, one of my favorite biscuit, Padaji, I'm not promoting it, but this is an object, right? When you talk about a phone, that's an object. When you talk about a watch, that's an object. When you talk about the bottle, even this is an object. So everything around you is an object. Basically, you can't work without objects, right? In fact, we are objects. We deal everything with objects, right? And in fact, company treat us as an object. So you are an object for the company which you're working for. So everything is object, right? Now, how will you create an object? So basically, how will you design an object? Now think about this. So I have a question for everyone here. Think about this. Let me talk about this particular phone which I have here. So this phone, right? So this is an object, right? And this is not the only phone in the world. There are multiple phones from the same brand and same model. So this is an object. But before you create the object, the first thing you do is what? So before we manufacture the object, or before we manufacture the phone, what do you do first? Anyone? Okay, just to answer that, first you design it. So the first step is to design something. Okay. Example, I always love this iPhone example. So before iPhone, I was using Samsung phone. And then even if you buy a very high-end Samsung phone or any other Samsung phone, now it is made in India, but initially it was made in China. So most of the phones were made in China. And then, so China makes all the major phones, right? Even the cheaper phones are made in China. The costlier phones are made in China. But Apple is smart here. Apple never say it is made in China. What they do is, if you see iPhone back, I'm not sure if they have it now. Let me just check. Oh, they have removed it. But in the earlier version, they used to say iPhone designed in California and assembled in China. And of course, now they have planned in different countries. But the most important thing is design is very important. So every time you want an object, the first thing you do is you design it. Okay. In the same way, in fact, I have a question for everyone here. What is more important? Designing or manufacturing? Which takes more efforts? Designing or manufacturing? That's right. Designing takes more efforts than manufacturing. So in the same way, in the world of Java, everything can be done with the help of an object. Example, if you want to do something, just take an object and ask it, hey object, I want these features from you. I want you to dance. I want you to walk. I want you to talk. So basically you have an object there and you are saying, hey object dance, hey object walk, hey object talk. It might work. But then question arises, who will create this object for you? So basically in the Java framework or in the Java technology, we have this awesome technology called JVM. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So JVM says, okay, it is my job to create the object. Okay, so it's JVM's job to create the object. It's more like a manufacturing unit. So you can go to any big manufacturing unit by saying, hey, I want an object. Manufacturing unit will say, okay, I will create an object for you. I will manufacture it. But you have to first give me a design. So basically, your JVM says, I will manufacture the object for you. You give me design. So you want an object which can talk. You want an object which can dance. You want an object which can walk. I will do it for you, but you have to tell me how those methods actually work. What are the properties it has? So basically, you have to provide a design. Okay. So actually, what happens is, as a programmer, it is your job to design. Okay. So when you say you have to design something, so this is how you design it, and we call it as a source code. Then this designing is actually not, I mean, your JVM cannot understand this design by default. So we need a compiler here. So we have a compiler here. Compiler says, okay, it is my job to convert the design into a format which your JVM can understand. And this format here is called a bytecode. Okay, so this here is your compiler. Okay, so the source code goes to the compiler. Compiler converts that into a bytecode. Now this is a design which we want. Now this design actually goes to the JVM, and then JVM will give you what? JVM gives you the object. Okay. So when you say you want an object which can dance, you want an object which can walk and talk, you have to define everything in this source code. So this is a source code actually. So this is a source code where you define everything. So this is your class file. So maybe who can dance here? So can we name this class? So I can name this class as alien. Of course, as programmers, we don't dance. That's the default idea everyone has about programmers. But let's say we have an alien class. Now, if you don't know what alien means, for me, alien means programmers. Okay, because we don't live in real world. We live in virtual world. So when I say alien, think about programmers, think about engineers. So we got this alien here. Alien can dance, alien can walk, alien can talk. So if you want to achieve that, basically you have to create a class, and you can name this class as alien, and you have to define everything in this class. So when you say alien dance, so you can say alien can dance, and you have to define how alien can dance, how dance actually performed. Then when you say your alien can walk, so you have to create those things here. And then in this curly bracket, you have to mention the steps, how alien can dance, how alien can walk, and those things. Okay, there's a comment from Access Denied. In last YouTube shorts, you were dancing. Okay. Yeah, I do dance. So alien can dance. Okay. There is one more method here, which is talk. And even you have to define this part. So this is basically methods. So these are basically methods. So methods, what they do? Methods actually specifies the behavior. So when I say an alien can dance, an alien can walk, an alien can code, those things are called methods, behaviors, right? Cool. Now, apart from behavior, as an alien or as an object, I know something, right? Example, I know how to dance. Okay, I know how to talk. I know how to walk. I know how to dance. I know how to teach. I know how to code. I know how to, what else we can do? Speak. Yeah, I'm doing that. I mean, speak slower. Doesn't matter. So I know multiple things, right? And all those things is actually mentioned here. Okay, so example, I know my age, so I can have my age variable here. I know my name, so that's my variable. I know what else I know. Maybe a technology which I work on. So basically all this are variables. Okay. So this, the below part here, this is your methods, and this is variables. Cool. Okay. In fact, we can say one more thing here. So when you talk about variables, they are actually what they are called as properties. So alien has certain properties and you can mention those properties there. Yeah, can we say attributes? Yeah, we can say that. Lohit says eating, living, and breathing. Do we breathe? We do. Yeah, we can say data members, we can say properties, we can say variables, we can say attributes. Yeah. Okay, Silver Fang says we call those variables in class as fields. Yeah, right. We call them as fields. Yeah, Gaurav, don't worry. Once we go forward, we'll talk about more about classes. The entire training will be done with the help of classes and object. They're on the way. Awesome. Anything to talk about here? Yeah. So can we also say the class defines what an object will do, right? Because JVM is a manufacturing unit, JVM can do whatever JVM wants. But then JVM says, okay, I will give you the object, but you have to give me the design. And this is how you design your class for the objects. Okay. So we can say when we get an object of this class, so when we get this object from this class, our object is a real entity which knows something and it does something. So object knows something and object does something. Object knows something with the help of variables and object does something with the help of methods. Cool. Awesome. And there's no compulsion that every object should know something. Okay. Example, you can create a class which only has methods, or you can create a class which only has variables. Anything to specify here? Yeah, that's it. So what I will do now is I can just go back. I can just go back here to the code. Okay. So how do we create a class? So to create a class, it's very simple. You can just go back here and say a class, and you can name this class as alien, right? Now what this class will have? This class will have certain variables. What are variables I want? I want a variable which is, let's say, name. So what type of variable I should have for the name? So for that, we can use a string. So I can say string name. Now, why string S is capital? Because string in Java is actually a class. It's not a primitive type. So I can say my name is Naveen. Okay. Then I can specify the age. Let's say 30. And then what else we have here? Technology. So I can talk about string technology. So which technology currently I'm working on? So I'm working on blockchain. I can say that. Can we have one more field? Yeah, we can have salary as well. How much I earn? Let's say 5,000. So yeah, so those are the fields we have. We got string, integer, string, integer. Of course, we can have some more fields as well. Okay, you're saying screen is not clear. It might be on your side. Okay. So again, before we go forward, if you are enjoying this session, hit that like button, everyone. Trust me, it takes a lot of efforts to stand and deliver Java sessions. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I enjoy it. So to give me more excitement, hit that like button. Okay, so what I will do now is, we got this class, right? And you can see I'm not defining any variables, or sorry, any method. Print the value of name. No internet. It's working. No, I'm still here. There was some issue with the connection. Okay, access deny says काश likes button को 1000 बार press कर पाते. हाँ, एक बंदा एक बार कर सकता है, right? So you can do it once at least. Yeah, okay. So make sure that doesn't matter how many numbers, how many times you click, make sure it is odd number. Because if you click for even times, it will be it will be unliked again. Okay, now I'm back, right? You can see me there. Okay, so basically we got this. What if I want to use this variable name here? So I want to use name. I want to print name here. So the moment I say name, you can see it is not working. It says cannot find or cannot resolve symbol name. You know why? Because this name is not a local to this main method. The name variable belongs to alien. So even before you use any property of alien, the first thing you have to do is, it's something like we got a new phone. Let's say iPhone 14 is coming, right? Now design is done, but we don't have an object yet. So if iPhone 14 says they can provide you this feature, can we use that feature? No, it's just design now. We don't have the object yet. So without object, you can't use any property. Okay. So what we can do here is, if you want to access this name which belongs to alien, you need to create an object of alien. Now how we do that? So we say alien first, we specify the type, and then we say obj. Of course, you can use any name, doesn't matter. In fact, if you're coming from C++, that's how we do it, right? You say alien, the class name, and then you mention the object name, which is obj, and that's it. But then in Java, what you do is you have to say equal to new alien. Again, we'll discuss later why we got new keyword there. What is this alien weird stuff here? We'll discuss that later. It has a very interesting concept. Maybe tomorrow we'll discuss about what is heap memory, stack memory, and what happens when you say new alien. That's a very exciting session. So make sure that you are there tomorrow, because in the most of the interviews, they will ask you this question. How do we create an object? What do you mean by new keyword? What is that round brackets after that class name? So make sure that you're there tomorrow as well. Okay, so everyone, don't be a spoiler. Have some suspense. I know you know Java, but then have some suspense for the other people. Do you watch any Marvel movie and just come out of the theater and tell your friends the entire story? Why are you doing it here? Okay, so basically when you want to use a variable name, you need the object of alien, right? So you have to say, if you want to access name, you have to say obj.name. So what you're saying is this name variable belongs to obj. Okay, so obj.name. So if you want to use the feature of this phone, you have to take this phone and use it. Okay, that's very important. Take this phone and use it. You can't simply say I'm using that feature. Okay. Oh yeah, assignment, right? Oh, I'm so sorry. For sure, tomorrow, before we start Menti, we'll give you the winner. We'll announce the winner. It's just that the entire day I was busy with recording videos. I was not able to get enough time to look at it. Okay, great. So we got this object here, and then using this object, you can access a particular variable. Okay. And now let's run this code and let's see what happens. Oh, it is just running the old code. It's still running the hello one. Let's run the project main. Can you see that we got Naveen? Okay, there's a question from Ritvik. What's the story behind this name, Telusko? Is it? For that, you have to go to YouTube and search for what Telusko means. I have recorded a special video for you, only for you, Ritvik. Awesome. Okay, Anmol says, I hope you are feeling well now. Today I'm feeling good, much better than yesterday. Awesome. So here we got the object, right? We can print more properties here. So I can print obj dot, what else we have? We have salary as well. Let me print that. And you can see we got Naveen and 5,000. Awesome. Okay, what else we have? Okay, now my question for everyone. If we can create an object, and then for object we have to create a class, Why it is such a complex way of doing it? First create a class and then create the object. See, the idea is you just need to create a class once and we can create multiple objects. Example, we got a first object, right? Let me just rename it to obj1 and let me create one more object here. So in fact, I will just copy this code and paste. Okay, in the world of programming, we never say copy paste. We say we are reusing the code. That sounds better, right? So let's say we got obj2 here and we got obj2. So basically now we have two different objects. And if you run this code, you can see we got the same output. We got Navin 5000, Navin 4000 because the values are defined here itself. Now, since they are variable, I can change it, right? So let's say I will just make some changes in the code sequence. Okay. So I'm creating the object here, and then I'm using those objects later. Even that works. Okay, so this says from Stack Overflow reusing. That's right. So when you copy the code from Stack Overflow or from GitHub, you're not copying it, you're just reusing it. Awesome. So basically we got these two things, right? What if I want to change the value for obj2 dot name? I want to change the obj2 name to, let's say, who is chatting in the code. Current chat is from Suchitra. The latest is Suchitra. Oh, there's an H there. Okay. So you can see I'm changing the name from Naveen to Suchitra. Now tell me everyone, if I run this code, what will be the output for the first one and for the second one? It will change both or only one? Okay, let me just run this code and let's see what happens. So say this. The name is changed only for the second one. It is not changing the first one. So basically, when you create multiple objects, every object will have its own memory. It will have its own values. So if I want to represent that in the format of diagram here, so basically when you create multiple objects, so we got the alien class, right? So we got a alien class here. This is your class, which is a design. And then what you're doing is you are creating the object. So when you create two different objects, it will be two different objects. This is obj1 and this is obj2. It will have its own name. It will have its own name. So whenever you make a change for the second object, it will not affect the first object. Okay. So the name here is Suchitra and the name here is Naveen. Does that make sense? So different object will have different values altogether. Awesome. Okay, Gaurav says, what are the benefits of using object and class instead of procedural methods? See, when Java was designed, in fact, not just Java, before this as well, there were multiple languages. When they were designing these languages, they thought, hey, what problem we are trying to solve? So in the real world, everything is object, right? So if you talk about a camera, which I'm looking at, it's an object. If you type a code, you need a machine, a laptop, or a keyboard. So those things are objects. Now, if you want to represent everything in the virtual world, those things should be object as well, right? It is easier to communicate between objects. It is easier to represent values. And most of the softwares, most of the application which we use deals with data, and those data is stored in table format. So it's easy to map the object with tables data as well. Cool. That should make sense, right? Awesome. Now we have talked about variables, right? Let me remove this. Let me just only work with one particular object. As of now, let me focus only on one. Now with this object, we have variables, right? Can I create methods as well? Because alien wants a behavior, right? Because we all code, we all write programs. So we'll say public. Okay, how do we define methods first? So this alien should be able to code. So I can say code, open curly brackets and close. So how do you define the method? You say round brackets. Okay, so basically you define the method name, which is code in this case, and then you are saying the round brackets. But every method need to have one more thing, which is the return type. Okay, so this is a method which is code. It will do something. So whenever you have an object which has a method, that method will do something for you. Because that's what we're saying, right? Behavior. So that method will do something for you, and it will give you something in return. Now, if this method says it will give you something in return as a number, you can say it will return an integer value. Or maybe if this says I will return a string, so you can say string value. So with every method, you have to define what it returns. Now at this point, I just want this code to get executed. Don't give me anything back. So what you can do is you can say void. Void means this method will not give you anything. And that's why most of the methods are void. But of course, you can create methods which can return values. So if that returns integer value, say int. If that returns a string value, say string. If that returns a laptop, say laptop. Or how do we get a laptop? We'll discuss that later. As of now, we are saying void code. Okay. And also mention what is the access for this particular method. Can it be called from outside? As of now, what is outside, inside, that's a different part. Just remember, I'm just making this method as public, which means it can be accessible from anywhere. How do we set the restrictions? That's a different thing. We'll talk about that later. As of now, it is public void code. And here we can perform some operation. And you can say reusing code from Stack Overflow. Yeah. Most of the people, they normally non-tech people, they normally say, hey, you are programmers, you just copy the code from GitHub and Stack Overflow. It is so easy, right? And that's true. Copying the code from GitHub and Stack Overflow is very easy. Where to paste is difficult. And after pasting, when you get bugs, solving those bugs are difficult. So basically the entire graduation which you do, or when you write multiple projects, you don't actually learn to code, you actually learn how to debug an application. How do we fit those code in the existing code which you have? Yeah. And let me know if you have the same experience. Okay, there's a question from Mohammed. I have a question. New alien is object or a reference? That's what we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Okay, yeah, static and all those things will be coming there. Don't worry, everyone. We'll talk about each and everything in detail. Have patience. Cool. So this is how it works, right? We got a method as well. Now, how do we call this method? So of course, you can't simply say code and call it. It will not work. You can see when you say code, it says, what is this code? We don't have this code, but we have this code with alien, right? So if you want this to be used, you have to say obj1.code. So method also belongs to an object, and that's how you call it. Run this code, and it works. Wow. So this is your class, objects, variables, and methods. We have just started, okay? It has a lot of things inside this, and which we are going to see in the upcoming sessions. Cool. So this is about class and object. Just look at this code once for 10 seconds, and then we'll end this session here. And then we'll continue with Menti quiz. So look at the code once and let me know if everything is good. Okay, so I would say, sir, please take one session on debugging. See, debugging is an art. You can't learn it. You have to do it. You have to practice. I can't teach you debugging. Okay, cool. So now with this, it's time to resume our Menti. I hope you're all set. So how do we get the link for the Menti? It's very simple. You can just go to okay, I'm showing the link here. Your link is available in the pinned comment or pinned chat. You can use it. Okay. So before we start with Menti, I just want to show you what are the winning prizes. So if you win first, you will get access to two of my courses. This is the first course, which is Enterprise Java with Spring Boot, and it has a lot of content on it. And I'll be the main trainer. I'll be the lead trainer for this. And yeah, this course is starting from 9 July. This is the live batch for 6 months. I know the best thing, even if you don't win, I think you should enroll. Just for 4,000, we are giving 6 months of live course. If not this, if you want to be a blockchain developer, this is the second course. And so these two courses will be given for the winning team. Cool. Or the winning person. First winner, both the courses. Second winner, only blockchain course. And you will find the link for this in the chat pinned. And with the same link, you can get the 20% off. So 10% off. I have the same shirt. Oh, that's okay. I have the same shirt. See, I'm so poor.
Or lazy.
Yeah, or lazy. For everyone else, my wife is sitting next to me, so of course you can guess the comments. Awesome. So let's continue with the Menti, everyone. So we have done with 3 questions. Okay, who will be teaching blockchain? I'll be the lead trainer for blockchain as well. Okay, here we go. The 4th question, everyone. Silver Fang says, who will teach Java blockchain? I will be teaching Java. I will be teaching blockchain. What are the prerequisites for blockchain course? No prerequisite. Anyone can join. Okay, so before we start with Menti, hit that like button, everyone, if you just joined. And if you want to join the Menti, it's very simple. Go to menti.com and mention that code. Otherwise, you can use a link on the top. I don't know if I mentioned that. Both the courses, currently we are giving 10% off. And if you use the same link, you will get 10% discount. And again, that is for limited time. Okay, so we are going for the first question, sorry, 4th question, not the first question. 4th question coming on your screen, and here we go. Okay, which of this is an incorrect array declaration? Okay, let's see what you have answered. Okay, majority of you are saying last option, and that is correct. So this is not how you do it, right? So the first 3 options are correct. You can put that square bracket anywhere you want. Awesome. Okay, so there's a question from Arpit. What about the doubt sessions on Java course? See, every weekend when we do these live sessions in the Java full stack course, so let's say the session is for 3 hours or 4 hours. The first 3 hours will be having the actual session. The next 1 or 2 hours will be having only for doubt solving. Don't worry. Okay, next question. 5th question on your screen, everyone. And here we go. How do you figure out the number of elements in an array? So that's an array. What do you use? This should be easy, right? We have talked about this here. Okay, let's see what you are answering here. Okay, only 400 people are voting for this. Okay, so majority of you are saying length, that is correct. Length is not a method, it's a property. So there's no round brackets there. When you are in hurry, that's what you do. Okay, now let's go for, okay, we have a leaderboard and let's see, do we have any changes in the leaderboard here? Okay, so basically there's not much of change in leaderboard. Yes, I just came down. We got Nikhil, Prachi, and we got Manisha as well. Doing good. I guess Shubham is a new entry. No, he was there. Shubham was there. Okay. Okay, Mahesh is asking, in Java course, will we get the recorded videos? Yes, you will be having those recorded videos. Okay, sixth question coming on your screen. And here we go. What is the output of the below code snippet? The font will be visible on your phone properly. Come on, come on, come on. It is easy now.